Hello everyone, Floppy Waffle 69 here, and welcome back to World of Warships, where today we will be doing a full deep dive analysis on the Jupiter 42 Tier 7 Royal Navy destroyer. The Jupiter 42, what is the Jupiter 42? Basically, the Jupiter 42 is a Jervis class destroyer that has a couple tweaks, a couple gimmicks added to alter her play style, thus furthering away from that kind of defensive destroyer that Wargaming thinks the Royal Navy DDs are and kind of align with, to more of a, in my opinion, destroyer hunter like cruiser Punisher. Um, this ship has some changes that are going to differentiate her from not only other destroyers in this game, at this tier especially, but definitely differentiate her from the Jervis, and kind of tries to mimic playstyles that we see on top tier destroyers, but really fails in comparison to what those destroyers can do up at tier 10, for example. So we're just going to do a deep dive over kind of like an overview of the ship first, and then I'll show you guys a game or two of the Jupiter 42. So just a quick little armor layout of the Jupiter 42. Pretty standard 16 millimeter nose and ass. Yeah, nothing special to write home about that. And I probably should dismiss the commander. I think that would help. Not dismiss him, but move him to the send to the reserve. My bad. So just so we can kind of get a layout without commander perks on the ship. So survivability coming in at 14,300. Not bad, not good, but whatever. We'll take that. For a tier 7 DD. Artillery is 3x2 120 millimeter guns. You do actually get a secondary mount on this ship as well, kind of for the memes, kind of for the lulz. So yeah, you have that too. Just remember to have it aid you in battle and maybe get the one shell hit. You can do maybe potentially, I don't know. Looking at that main battery with a 6.5 second reload with that 180-degree turn time with 12 seconds, dispersion of 98 meters, maximum range clocking in at 12.1. And as you can see, is the first differentiating, I guess, thing that is, going to separate her from the Jervis and other destroyers is there is no access to the high explosive shells on this ship. You are strictly getting armor piercing, and that is it. And the armor piercing is a little bit different. I don't believe it's short fuse. I could be wrong on that. But the damage is clocking in at 2,500. Your initial speed is about 808 meters a second with a drag coefficient of 0.436. Impact speed about 300 meters a second, with the penetration of 50 millimeters. So it seems like to me that you have the extra AP penetration, but I don't think it. Well, yeah, okay. The fuse time is 0.0110. So it does have different. You're right. So the fuse times are a little bit different. With the Jupiter 42 with a ricochet angle of 60.6 or 60 to 68 degrees. So we have some improved AP penetrate or AP parameters on this vessel. In my opinion, though, this is not going to come anywhere close like what you see on the Minotaur. The Minotaur is it has different AP characteristics, and it's going to be noticeable when you do that. Actually, if I can scroll here on my various other screen and look at the Minotaur and pull up her shell characteristics. Yeah, like the fuse time on the Minotaur is 0.005 seconds. So different fuse time, and the ricochet angles are 60 to 75 degrees. So you're having a little bit difference on the Minotaur. So you can kind of use that to gauge it off of kind of what values you're getting when it comes to the Jupiter 42, so that you don't confuse her with like Minotaur AP, for example, because that is certainly not what you're getting on this ship. That's for sure. So, clocking, let's go to the torpedoes here. The torpedoes, you get that one launcher and only one launcher on the Jupiter 42. This is the 533 millimeter one, Mark II. 7-kilometer range, just like the Jervis. With a maximum damage of 18,433. Very slow, though, in my opinion. Maybe not very slow, but they're definitely slow and sluggish with 59 knots. Technically range, though, pretty stealthy, but with that speed coming in, I mean, the reaction time, you would have to look at with the torpedoes, I believe, is coming in at 7.6 seconds. So again, I still think that's good enough time for ships to recognize. But then again, it all depends. Them going at the max speed, whatever, who knows, right? They have them. You're not going to be using it though. One launcher apparent on a ship, or especially a destroyer, should tell you that the ship isn't going to be relying on torpedoes. Its bread and butter is going to lie in those guns. So you got depth charges. The Royal Navy, they do 5,000 a pop. AA defenses, pretty underwhelming. Obviously a destroyer, and yeah, nothing, no defensive AA on the ship. Yada yada yada. Maneuverability is coming at 36 knots with a turning circle radius of 590, a rudder shift time 2.8 seconds. Pretty maneuverable. We see that with the Royal Navy baked in, kind of like engine parameters. You will see that as well. Concealment value coming in at 6.3. I believe it comes down to what, 5.8, 5.9 kilometers max. Stealth build with a concealment expert skill. And detecting ranges of 2.7. So this is what I recommend for the upgrades for my Jupiter 42 with the main armaments mod 1. I take the engine boost modification 1, 2, because this is going to further that kind of DD hunting role, allow me to get from point A to point B a little bit faster and keep it up there for 30% longer. Why would I not do that? Aiming systems mod 1 to make sure that my 6 shells, potentially 4 at a time if I'm just nose in, can land, have a higher chance at landing all of those. And then I do end up taking the steering gears mod 1 as we don't have access to the engine systems because it's already baked into the ship. So not terrible. Damage control party, obviously. Your short burst smoke generator, just like you find on Royal Navy destroyers, very useful. Nice, you get a lot of them. Good. You get your little 3 kilometer hydro here for the detection of torpedoes and ships. Pretty standard across Royal Navy destroyers. And your standard 8% speed boost that you're going to be having on this thing as well. So, but yeah, the Jupiter 42, interesting ship. She, in my opinion, when I've played her, and I've played a fair amount of games in her to kind of give you guys a review on her now. She best, like I told you in the beginning of the video, excels at the hunting enemy destroyers route and again punishing light cruisers. This ship is horrendous to fight, or when you're fighting it is horrendous to fight enemy battleships. Battleships have armor. Most of the time they're coming nose in on you. If you do get the occasional broadside, most of the time your AP is going to shatter because it just doesn't have the penetration, and they're usually heavily armored. So I try not to engage battleships with this thing, unless I'm forced to. But yeah, in my opinion, this was an attempt by Wargaming to give us a ship that is going to fight enemy destroyers, kind of knife fight them. And I just think it does a horrendous job at doing that, if that. But enough about the ship, what's under the hood. I've given you guys a brief rundown of the ship. I think it's time to show you guys some gameplay and see what the ship can really do when it's out on the battlefield. So let's get into it. All right, so here we are in battle with the Jupiter 42, the Royal Navy's one and only Tier 7 destroyer. I gave you a brief review or kind of a in-depth little analysis of this ship and port there just before we got into the battlefield. So hopefully now I can show you kind of what she can meteorologically do, if that's even a word, do in battle. So obviously with her low detection, which I believe I can get her down to 5.8 if I'm not mistaken. First thing I'm going to do is obviously get an applied vision for my team. I'm going to contest caps, and I'm going to look for enemy destroyer locations. Again, I only have a 14-point commander on this ship. If I do have a 21-point commander, I will pop it up on the screen now. This is what I would build for and what I would take. I do think it is important you take skills that are going to be best suited for fighting enemy destroyers, as this is primarily your job. To hunt down enemy DDs, because I can't get the ship to work in any other situation other than attempting, and I cannot stress it enough, attempting to hunt enemy destroyers. So, and she doesn't do it very well, and I think there just are other DDs that are just going to be better at doing it. Like, flat out, I just think other DDs are going to be better than doing what this thing is attempting to do. So, we do happen to be, I believe, top tier this game. So that's always nice, because if you're bottom tier in this thing, good luck. That's all I can say. Good luck. Obviously, I smoke out because the T61 is going to be playing vision for me, so I'm going to start shooting the Leipzig, um, which the Leipzig obviously has the trades to Nuremberg that trades those what hydro and DPM for 10-kilometer torpedoes, or does it have hydro? I'm not 100% sure. I think I was looking there, but whatever. So I'm just going to do my best job to attempt to farm with my armor piercing. And it's a light cruiser. And again, I told you that this thing can do well against light cruisers, but they have to show broadside. You have to aim a little bit above waterline, and you should be able to get good meaty 2, 3, 4K salvos relatively consistently if they're that way. But if not, then yeah, good luck. Obviously, enemy DD shows up. This is our target. This is who we want to fight. But I don't want to reverse too much as we have those Leipzig torpedoes coming inbound just a little bit from behind me. So I have to be forced to to accelerate forward. Plus, our team nukes him anyways. Good torpedo salvo by our T-61 there. So obviously that the use of the 3-kilometer hydro is crucial, not only for spotting incoming torpedoes, but it's also good for letting me know, like in situations like this, where enemy keeping the DDs lit for my team and letting me know kind of where enemies could be outside of my smoke screen if they're not in direct line of sight. So always nice to have that at your disposal. So. Oh yeah, with so here in this situation, we see the T-22. We know he is a vastly superior hydro to me in regard to the detection department, but we're going to take him out, being conscientious of the Duke of York's massive HE salvo weight. We're going to hug this island, do what I can to shoot the T-22 and not hit the mountain. But you can see like very mediocre damage when it comes to shooting destroyers, unless you hit them in a meaty part. And I feel if they're slightly angled away, it's going to give your AP that extra threshold to arm, and that's when you're really going to do the big damaging shots against DDs. So here we are playing with the T-61, and there we go, 4,100 damage to a DD because he was slightly angled to me, and I was able to land the majority of my armor piercing shells, doing exactly what the ship was intended to do, which was hunt enemy destroyers, and obviously contesting caps. You're seeing that you have to aim very well, looking to chunk superstructure with the armor piercing, because at this angle, and especially because the battleship with the armor it has, not that the Duke of York has much armor, I have to pinpoint my shot location to know to do somewhat reasonable amount of damage to the thing. But again, sitting from smoke and farming in the Jupitar 42 is not going to win you any prize. It's not really going to help your team, increase their likelihood of being victorious in the battle. You're not really going to have an enjoyable experience doing this, because even like, for example, like shooting against a tier 5 battleship like the New York. I mean, can I pen them? Absolutely, in specific areas, but I just feel very underwhelming. Whereas you're expecting like an Elbing, at tier 10, like you're getting meaty hits consistently with your armor piercing and obviously pinpoint location with that. You're not getting that here, and I don't know what it went wrong in the development cycle with this ship, but it's just very, very mediocre and very bland. And I can honestly say that I think you're actively not only griefing yourself when you play this thing, but you're actively griefing your team too when you bring this thing into battle. So kind of see where I stand with Jupitar 42 with those harsh words of truth. Again, you might find this ship to be more enjoyable. You might find it to be more fun, but for me personally, this ship is a pile of hot trash. Just hot trash. I do not like this ship. The absence of HE on any destroyer is really a yikes, right? It's really a yikes, especially when you can't penetrate battleships. At least you're going to rely on fire damage with your HE, whereas this you can't do that. I think that this ship also, like a big role model for this ship, so to speak, would be something like the Druid at tier 10. But the Druid has vastly superior AP DPM that it's sending downrange, and it has the short fused AP like the Minotaur that can absolutely punish cruisers and citadel them. And I think in the games I've played with this thing, maybe I've citadeled like an Omaha once or twice, or an Emerald. Like, other than that, no, I don't. And I have to be at vastly close, super close ranges to do that. So yeah, the Jupitar 42 is just not it, guys. It's just absolutely not it. So obviously, recognizing that the Duke of York's guns are not pointed in my direction, I'm just gonna sail, kind of do that reverse, sit there and just do as much as I can with farming him. Doing decent salvos around 2 to 3K. Again, that's kind of to be expected. Again, because he's presenting me a decent angle to shoot from. But the second he's going to start maneuvering and angling, it's just I'm going to find myself, not doing the damage that I want to do or anything that could basically justify sitting in smoke and shooting a battleship. But doing what I can to lower him, that hopefully another ship that decides to shoot him has more than enough alpha potential to kill him, right? That's kind of what I'm doing here, because I'm sure as hell not gonna do anything, right? So again, picking my spots, shooting armor piercing into the superstructure is definitely what I want to be doing. Location of the shells where you're aiming in the ship is crucial. So if you don't find yourself being that good of a marksman in this game, again, there's always room to improve. The ship is not going to be fun for you. So there was a well placed shot. We got 4 penetrations there right into the superstructure. Boom, got him. Perfect. It took longer than expected. You have to beg the question with HE, would it have been quicker? Probably light a couple fires, use a fire plus the HE damage you're getting. I don't know. Again, I don't know. So, yeah, as the battle here winds down, some final thoughts on the ship. I know because Wargame, this is Wargaming's one of 4 ships they're featuring here in the Java C event. And I believe I've already covered a couple. This is the one ship of the 4 ships that I'd probably not recommend to pick up. If you have her already, that's fine. I mean, if you enjoy playing her, that's fine. Does she have her spots? Yeah, I think this is a decent ship to play if you're in a division with another destroyer. I think the ship can really be good, especially with her low detectability. I can see that being a good counter to like other stealthier ships. Perfect. Totally see that to be viable. Competitive. I don't know. Personally, I'd rather have HE in my ship to do damage over time, to do more consistent damage than kind of, situational ships. But yeah, this is a very situational ship, guys, and matchmaker dependent. Let's be honest with that too. You're not gonna, this is not gonna be one of those ships that every game you queue up in, you're gonna be like, you know what, I'm gonna be able to do exactly what I need to do each and every game I play this thing. So you have a couple of those red flags waving way high before before every battle, basically. So, but yeah, of the 4 ships, which I believe it's the Perth, the Minigumo, the Jupiter 42, and the last one was it the Udachi, I believe, of those 4. Yeah, this was just, I don't know, guys. It's just it doesn't pick my fancy, that's for sure. I find myself playing her again if I want to be trolly, if I want to be me, and obviously I wanted to get myself at least a somewhat decent commander because I wanted to play around with it a little bit to see what I thought of her. But yeah, like she's not there. She's not quite there. I think it's definitely a swing and a miss, in my opinion at least. So I definitely do not like her for these reasons, as I stated. So as the game's winding down here, yeah, just gotta go do what I can, shoot some AP into broadsides, and live, because at this point it's our battle to lose. Doubling the in the HP department and ship department. Yeah, this should be an easy win for our team. So, but yeah, so I do think they're just better ships to play. If you're looking for a more destroyer on destroyer role, like a more anti-destroyer role, yeah, I think there's just vastly superior ships in my opinion. Like even the ship that this is based off of, right? The Jervis, I just think that's a better ship. That's not to mention the other ship, the Haida or the Huron. I mean, those are excellent at what they do for going against anti-destroyers, and potentially more versatile with the crawling smoke generating a 3.5 kilometer hydro on the Haida, and then the big heel on the Huron. I believe it has hydro as well. Is it 3 or 5 kilometers? Maybe I'm confused. I'm not sure if it gets hydro. It's not in front of me. Let's see. Does the Huron get? Oh, it does get hydro. Okay, yeah. Okay, but it's only, it's ship detection is only 4 kilometers on the Huron, but here's an example, right? We're fighting in a hill. Again, even I'm pumping, shell after shell in his hit into his broadside here. Like, it's very mediocre damage. I feel like. I mean, I feel like I could if I had HE, again, the guy would just be dead. Preemptively, I already knew I was going to win this engagement, so I just launched torpedoes where I think the guy's going to sail in a straight line. But yeah, like overpens, 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 angle to me, angled, boom, he's dead because we get penetrations. So it's just one of those things. I think we see this with like the Pan American cruiser line. It's kind of similar with the whole how the AP works, especially when it comes to DDs. You'll just get overpen, overpen, overpen until the destroyer angles just ever so slightly to you, and then boom, then you'll slap them and send them back to port. But yeah, this ship, in my opinion, guys, to sum it up here as the game's coming to an end, it's just yeah, not a very fun ship, not a good ship. Even to find a game like this with 80,000 damage for you guys, yeah, it was already a struggle. I think I played like 3-4 games to get something like this, and this was probably the best of the 3 or the 4. I just don't. I'm not a really big fan of her. I think you guys could do better for looking for a better destroyer overall somewhere else. So, anyways, hope you guys liked the video and stay tuned for more. Anyways, catch you guys around. Have a good one.